Hello and welcome to A-Level Math. This is the second video in the series Arithmetic Progressions. In the first video, we had discussed the idea and intuition of arithmetic progressions, the derivation of the general term of the AP, and we considered some basic problems. But in this tutorial, we will be taking some higher order problems, like some harder problems. So it is very much necessary that you have already seen the previous video that covers the theoretical aspects of AP, so that you can now go ahead and see this video and take up some harder problems yourself. So let's get started. Let's start with a very simple question for the first time. Which term of the AP 30, 29, 1 by 4, 28 and a half and so on is the first negative term? They are asking what is the rank of the term so that that term is the first negative term in this series, in this sequence. So you see that the numbers are constantly decreasing. So it's from 30, then 29, 1 by 4, 28 and a half and so on and so forth, and they are in a decreasing fashion. That means the common difference has to be negative. So first of all, let's find out what this common difference is. The common difference is second term minus first term, or the difference of any two consecutive term, the second term minus the first term. So 29 1/4 minus 30 will probably give me minus 3 by 4. So this is my common difference. Okay, what is the formula for the general term? Tn is equal to a plus n minus 1 times d. My a is 30 over here. N I have to find out, because I have to find out which n will give me first negative term. So that is what I am trying to find out. For what n this will be negative, times d minus 3 by 4. This should be less than 0. I want this to be less than 0. So we want to find out that n for which this term, the nth term, will be negative. So this gives us 30 minus 3n by 4 plus 3 by 4 less than 0. Let's simplify and take n on one side and all the other terms on the other side. So 30 plus 3 by 4 less than 3n by 4. 4 3s are 12. 123 by 4. 123 by 4 less than less than 3n by 4. 4 and 4 cancels out. So 123 less than 3n means 3n is greater than 123. That means n is greater than 123 upon 3, which means 3 4s are 12, 3 1s are 3. So it's n greater than 41. So that means we can take our n to be greater than 41. So what this means? So if you see that these terms are in a decreasing fashion, that means as you go on increasing the number of terms, you will be getting a lesser and lesser value of the term. So this means that once you reach 41, you will be getting your first negative term, and even after that 42nd, 43rd, 44th, all are negative terms. But the question asks us to find out the first negative term. So this is the meaning of n greater than 41. That means from 41 and afterwards, 41, 42, 43, all of these terms are negative, and 41st term is actually the first negative term. So you can write your answer as that the 41st term is the first negative term. That's it. Okay, let's take up another question. Find the 10th common term between the arithmetic series. Okay, so let me first tell you, I forgot if I told you this or not, but let me tell you again, even if I have. So the difference between a sequence and a series is that sequence has just the terms. So if they are comma separated, like 3, 6, 9, 12, this is a sequence. But if you see plus sign, so this entire thing is a series. So this is a series and this is another series. Okay, so that's the difference between a sequence and a series. So you'll always see commas in sequences and plus in series. Okay, so series will have some value. So if you add all those things up, you'll be getting some value, maybe finite or infinite. I'm not going into that. That's some higher order mathematics. But series always has some particular value, and sequence has just terms. So sequence has many terms and series has a particular value. So series has plus in it and sequence has commas in it. Okay, so now the question asks us to find out the 10th common term between these. So here the first term is 3, here 1, then 7, then 6. If you see, there are some common terms. 11 is the first common term in these two series, or maybe sequences. So 11 is the first common term in both of them, and then we need to find out what will be the next common term, the next common term, and actually the question asks us to find out the 10th common term. So if you observe that in the first AP, our common difference is 7 minus 3. So D over here is 7 minus 3, which is equal to 4, and D for this case you may call it D1 and D2, so it is better, and D2, that means the common difference for this AP is 6 minus 1, which is equal to 5, and the first common term between these two sequences is 11. Okay, so can you tell me which will be the next common term? So if you see, here the terms are 11 plus 15 plus again 4, 19 plus 4 plus 4, and here they are skipping by 5s. So the next common term will be we have to add the LCM of these two, 4 and 5, 20. So if you see, 11 plus 20, 31 will be the next common term. So if you expand both of these arithmetic progressions up to certain number of elements, you will see that the next common term that you find now is 21. So the trick here is that you just find out the first common term, whatever it is, that will give you the first common term, and thereafter you take the LCM of these two common differences. So the LCM will give you the common difference of our required AP. So our required AP is having, like, the first term is 11 and then the common difference is 20. So our next term will be 31, then 51, and so on, and this is our required new AP, and we just need to find out the 10th term of this new AP, because they are asking us to find out the 10th common term. All of these are common terms, 10, 31, 51, because I told you that you just take out the LCM of these two common differences, and all of these terms, 11, 31, 51, I mean, just keep on adding 20, they will all give you the common terms for the given two sequences. And then if they are asking you to find out the 10th common term, just find out the 10th term of this AP. So for this AP, T10 is A plus N minus 1 times D, and this will give you your 10th common term for the given APs. And this logic extends to any number of sequences. Suppose I give you 5 sequences and I ask you to find out the, say, 50th common term between all those sequences. So you take out the common differences of all those sequences and just remember what is the first common term in all of those sequences and form your new AP, and you can follow exactly the same logic. So that becomes easy. 11 plus 9 times 2, 180, so 191 is our 10th common term for the given sequences. Okay, this may seem a little bit difficult to you, but believe me, it's not at all difficult. Make sure that you know some basic formula of trigonometry. It will require some formula from compound angles from compound angles. So make sure that you have already watched my videos on trigonometry. If you haven't, please go and watch them. So A1, A2, A3 up to AN are in AP. They have given you that A1, A2, A3 are in AP with common difference D. So once the common difference is D, we know that we have taken this kind of problem in the first video. So because they have given us the common difference, A2 minus A1 and A3 minus A2, A4 minus A3. So the first thing that should come into mind is that all of these differences are actually equal to D, because the difference between any two consecutive terms is D. So second term minus first term, third term minus second term, fourth term minus third term, and last term minus second term is actually D. Okay, now they ask us to prove that the sum of this series, sine D times cosec A1 cosec A2 plus cosec A2 cosec A3 plus up till cosec n minus 1 cosec n is equal to something like this. Okay, so first quickly let's write down the left hand side of the given equation or identity. Okay, so now what we do, we can write this d as a2 minus a1 for the first case. So what I do, first of all, I multiply the sine d to each and every term. So I get sine d, and I transform these cosec a1 and cosec n2 into sine a1 and sine a2 by reciprocaling them. So I can write this as sine d by sine a1 sine a2 plus sine d by sine a2 sine a3 plus sine d by sine a3 sine a4 all the way up to sine d by sine an minus 1 sine an. Now what I do, I write this d as a2 minus a1, this d as a3 minus a2, this d as a4 minus a3, and this d as an minus 1. So we have done some similar kind of question in the previous examples or previous video lecture as well, so you please make sure that you have seen those videos properly. So I write this as sine a2 minus a1, and then denominator same, sine a1 a2, sine a1 sine a2 plus this d as sine a3 minus a2 by sine a2 sine a3, and similarly we fill up the rest of the terms. Now what we can do is we can apply the formula of sine a minus b in here. So this will give me sine a cos b minus cos a sine b, and similarly we will apply formula to each and every numerator and see what we get. So this is sine a cos b minus cos a sine b, and we keep the denominator as it is, sine a1 sine a2, and similarly we do for all of the terms. Now what we can do, we can split this sine a1 sine a2 on each of these terms, and similarly this sine a2 a3 sine a2 sine a3 on each of these two terms, and we will be doing it for each and every one of these terms. So let's see what we get. Sine a2 cos a1 sine a2 cos a1 minus cos a2 sine a2 cos a1 divided by sine a1 sine a2 minus cos a2 sine a1 divided by sine a1 sine a2. So what we have done, we have simply divided each of these two terms by sine a1 sine a2. So let's keep this thing inside bracket. So then we have our next term. So we will again split this sine a2 sine a3 into each of these two terms. So we get sine a3 cos a2 sine a3 cos a2 divided by sine a2 sine a3 minus cos a3 sine a2 divided by sine a2 sine a3, and again we put it inside a bracket, and then all the way up to the last term, which will be sine an cos an minus 1 sine an cos an minus 1 divided by sine an sine an minus 1 minus cos an sine an minus 1 divided by sine an sine an minus 1. And now you see that this sine a2 gets cancelled out with sine a2, and sine a1 gets cancelled out with sine a1. Similarly, sine a3 cancels out with sine a3, sine a2 cancels out with sine a2, and in here sine an cancels out with sine an, and sine n minus 1 cancels out with sin a n minus 1. So in the first term, what we are left with is cos a1 by sin a1, which is cot a1, minus cos a2 by sin a2 is cot a2. So this is what we are left with in the first term. Then cos a2 by sin a2 is cot a2, minus cos a3 by sin a3 is cot a3, and all the way up to, in a similar way, cot a n minus 1 minus cot a n. Now you see, observe the pattern of cancelling out. This cot a2 and cot a2 cancel out. That means the second term of the first bracket cancels out with the first term of the second bracket. I repeat, second term of the first bracket cancels out with the first term of the second bracket. So this is the second term of the first bracket and this is the first term of the second bracket. So second term of the first bracket cancels out with the first term of the second bracket. Alright, so in a similar way the cancellation will happen. That means this second term of this first bracket will cancel out with some first term of this second bracket, and similarly this second term will cancel out with the other first term, and all the cancellations up till the last term. And we know that for the last term this first term will be cancelling out, okay, because whatever is there, whatever is in here, the second term of whatever we have before this bracket, this second term will cancel out it with this first term. So make sure that you are understanding the cancellation pattern, okay. So what is left with at the end is cot a1 minus cot a n, and this is what we were required to prove, cot a1 minus cot a n, hence proved. Another question, in an AP the pth term is q and the qth term is p, find its p plus qth term. Okay, so let's quickly write down the facts of the question. They are giving us that the pth term is q, that means tp is q, and the qth term is p, that means tq is equal to p. So we apply the formula. We know that tp is a plus p minus 1 times d, because in place of n we are having p over here, so we just replace our n with p in the given formula. And please do mention in your examination that you are assuming that your a is the first term, because a and d is nowhere mentioned in the question. We are introducing it ourselves, so please make sure that you define what a and d are. A is the first term, assume that a is the first term and d is the common difference. Please write the full forms in the examination. So this is given to be q, and similarly a plus q minus 1 times d is given to be p. Now we need to find out its p plus qth term. That means we are interested in finding out t, p plus q. We have to find out the value of this thing. So we have two equations and we have introduced a and d. These are our two variables. Let's find these values by solving. So I just subtract these two because a will get cancelled out and I'll be having the value of d. So a gets cancelled out. I have p minus 1 into d minus q minus 1 into d is equal to q minus p. I can take d common. I have p minus 1 minus q plus 1 is equal to q minus p. So d minus 1 plus 1 cancels out. D times p minus q is equal to q minus p. So d is equal to q minus p divided by p minus q. I can take minus common in the numerator and shuffle the places. Q minus p becomes p minus q divided by p minus q, and now these two cancel out to give me minus 1. So I get the value of d is equal to minus 1. I can simply put down this value of d in any of these equations and can find out the value of a. So let's quickly do that. A plus p minus 1 into d, which is minus 1, is equal to q. So a and minus p plus 1 is equal to q. So a is equal to q plus p minus 1. So this is the value of a. We have got both the value of a and d, and For any AP, we just need two things, A and D, and that's it. And then we need to find out what is required. We need to find out the P plus Qth term. So P plus Q is equal to A plus P plus Q minus 1 times D. We need to find out this because this is what P plus Qth term is. Just think of this P plus Q as N. So it is A plus N minus 1 into D. We need to find out this. So A is equal to what? We have found out the value of A, which is Q plus P minus 1. So it is Q plus P minus 1 plus P plus Q minus 1, and the value of D was minus 1. So let's quickly simplify this. Q plus P minus 1 minus P minus Q plus 1. So everything cancels out. Q plus P minus Q minus P minus 1 plus 1, and the answer is 0. So P plus Qth term is 0. And remember that this is a very nice and simple question. So what this question says that if pth term is Q and Qth term is P, that means suppose I give you an AP where the third term is 5 and the fifth term is 3, then it's 5 plus 3th term, P plus Qth term, will always be 0. So in here the 8th term will be 0. You can take any AP where this thing holds. So suppose if you want to take an AP where 50th term is 65 and 65th term is 50, then your 65 plus 50, that means 115th term will turn out to be 0. This will hold for all the APs. So this, I like this question very much. Alright. Next question. If the mth term of an AP is 1 by n and its nth term is 1 by m, show that its mnth term is 1. So let's quickly follow the same rules as above, as in the previous example. I'll suggest you please try it yourself. What you do, you take the first term as A, D as the common difference, and you get two equations. You can write down Tm is equal to 1 by n and Tn is equal to 1 by m. So this will give you two equations in terms of A and D. Quickly solve them, find out the value of A and D, and then just find out the value of Tmn. They have asked us to find out Tmn. Just put down those values of A and D and see what you get. Did you get 1 or not? Okay, so please pause the video and try, and then see the solution. So Tm is equal to A plus m minus 1 times D, which is equal to 1 by n. So this is our first equation. And Tn is A plus n minus 1 times D, which is equal to 1 by m. This is our second equation. So we quickly subtract to get rid of A and find out the value of D. So we can take D common. We'll be having m minus 1 minus n plus 1 is equal to 1 by n minus 1 by m. Minus 1 plus 1 cancels out. More or less similar calculations as previously. So D m minus n is equal to, we can take nm LCM. So we get m minus n. So mn cancels out. We get D is equal to 1 by nm. Alright. So we get the value of D. We just put this value of D in any of these equations. So I'll put in the first one. So A plus m minus 1 times 1 by nm is equal to 1 by n. This gives us A plus, I can split this 1 by nm to each of these terms. So I get m by nm minus 1 by nm is equal to 1 by n. Cancels out, I get 1 by n. So A plus 1 by n minus 1 by nm is equal to 1 by n. So 1 by n cancels out. I get A is equal to 1 by nm. So we see that A and D both are turning out to be equal. Okay, no problem. Now all we need to do is just find out the value of Tmn. What is Tmn? Tmn is A plus mn minus 1, because in place of n we have mn. So mn minus 1 times D, 1 by nm. So the value of A is 1 by nm, 1 by nm plus, I split this nm into each of these terms. So nm by nm minus 1 by nm. So nm cancels out, and this cancels out. I get just 1 because nm cancel out and give 1, not 0. Please don't make this mistake. nm cancel out to give 1. 3 by 3 is 1, not 0. Okay, so we get 1, and this is what was required to be proved. Next question: if m times the mth term of an AP is equal to the n times of its nth term, show that the m plus nth term of the AP is 0. So they're giving that m times the mth term, that means m times tm, is equal to is equal to the n times of the nth term. This is what is given to us, and then we need to prove that tm plus n is 0. Show that the m plus nth term is 0. That means we need to reach here. Tn plus m is equal to 0. We need to show this. Okay, so let's quickly assume that our first term is a and common difference is d. Please do explain this thing in your examination. I'm a bit lazy, so I'm not doing it, please, but you do. So m times a plus m minus 1 times d is equal to n times a plus n minus 1 times d. So I've just put down the formula. Tm is a plus m minus 1 into d, and tn is a plus n minus 1 into d. So let's quickly multiply everything. So we get am plus md into m minus 1 is equal to an plus nd into n minus 1. Okay, so let's separate. So let's keep the terms involving a together and the terms involving d together. So what I get, am minus an is equal to nd times n minus 1 minus md times m minus 1. So I can take a common, I get m minus n, and I can take d common in here, I get n square minus n minus m square plus m. Okay, so I have simply jumped a step, so I take d common, I get n times n minus 1, which is n square minus n, and I get minus m times m minus 1, so it is m square minus m, but I have also multiplied with this minus, so I have jumped some steps. If you are not understanding, give it a try, write down 2-3 steps more and make yourself understand. Okay, so a times m minus n is equal to d times, now what I do, I'll factorize this entire thing. So n square minus m square I bring together, n square minus m square together, minus n plus m together. So this remains as it is. A times m minus n is equal to d times n square minus m square. I can apply the formula n plus m into n minus m, and in here I take minus common, so I get n minus m. So what I get is a times m minus n is equal to d times, I can take n minus 1 fully common inside it, so I get n minus m, and then I get n plus m plus 1, n plus m plus minus 1. Okay, so now what I can do, I can cancel out this n minus 1 and n minus m and m minus n, and I can put minus somewhere over here. So I get minus a is equal to d times n plus m and plus m minus 1, and then I can take this a on the other side, so I get 0 is equal to a plus n plus m minus 1 times d. I have just switched their position, so I've taken d, instead of writing it over here, I've written it over here. No problem, 5 into 3 is 3 into 5, so it doesn't matter. And if you observe that this is the formula for the n plus mth term, isn't it? Because n plus m, the tn plus m is what? A plus n plus m minus 1 times d. So it's effectively the tn plus mth term, and it turns out to be 0. And this is what was required to be proved. We had to prove that this n plus mth term is 0, and it turned out to be so. Next question, show that in an AP the sum of the terms equidistant from the beginning and end is equal to the sum of the first and the last term. Okay, So in this question they are asking us to prove that suppose you take any AP, suppose there are these many terms, there are many terms in this AP, and suppose that you take any rank, any particular term, say they are equidistant from the beginning and the end. So if you take third term from the beginning, take the third term from the end and add them up. It's not necessary to take the third term, I'm just giving an example. You can take even the fourth term or the fifth term, whatever it is. If you take the nth term from the beginning, you have to take the nth term from the end as well. Okay, that is the logic. So suppose that you take the third term from the beginning and third term from the end. If you add these two, you'll be getting the sum equal to the first and the last term. So any particular term, so if you take fifth term from the beginning and fifth term from the end, you add them up, you'll be getting the sum of the first term plus the last term. This you'll be always getting. So the question asks us, so let me frame it a bit more properly. Assume that your A is the first term and L is the last term, and you take nth term from the beginning and nth term from the end. Then you have to prove that nth term from the beginning, the sum of these two terms, the nth term from the beginning and the nth term from the end, is equal to the first term plus the last term, that is A plus L. So we have to define what is A and L. Assume that A is the first term, so please take your copy and write it down. I won't be writing this much, I have limited space on my laptop. So assume that the first term is A and the last term is L. Then we need to prove that nth term from the beginning and the nth term from the end, the sum of these two terms is always equal to A plus L. So what is the nth term from the beginning? It's just Tn, right? So A plus n minus 1 times d. This is the nth term from the beginning. Nth term from the beginning. This is the nth term from the beginning. What is the nth term from the end? Okay, let me give you a hint. This is the last term. This is the last second term, right? So it is be L minus d. So instead, so what is the logic here is that if d is the common difference, how do you get this second term? You add d to it, right? So if you want to get previous term from the this term, then you subtract d. Okay, so this is what I'm doing over here. If I'm given this L to be my last term, then the term before this will be L minus d, and yet again the term before this will be L minus 2d, and approaching in the same way I'll be getting the nth term as L minus n minus 1 into d, because there is no d in the first term, 1d in the second term, 2d in the third term, so n minus 1d in the nth term. So if this will be more clear to you if you have watched my previous video, so it's almost in the same lines. So this is my nth term from the end. So you quickly write it down. This is the nth term from the end. Now the question asks us to prove that if you add these two, this and this, you'll be getting A plus L. So let's quickly see if we are getting this or not. A plus n minus 1 times d plus L minus n minus 1 times d. Let's simplify this. What do we get? You separate this A plus L, A plus L, and then you take if you see this n minus 1 times d, n minus 1 times d cancels out. So all we are left with is this A plus L only, and this is what was required to prove. This question was extremely simple, even though students get confused when there are no numbers in the question. I know, because I too was very much comfortable when I saw numbers in some maths question, but the question seemed to be very difficult without numbers. But believe me, it's nothing like rocket science. It's extremely easy. You just need to get the feel of the question. I do understand your pain, because I myself have felt those pain when I was a student. Next question. The sum of three numbers in AP is 24 and their product is 440. Find the numbers. Okay, these questions can be done in many ways, but I'll tell you the simplest way to achieve the result. They are saying that the sum of three numbers in AP is 24. Whenever they are giving you three numbers in AP, always take those numbers as A minus D, A and A plus D. Although you can have taken those numbers as A plus D and A plus 2D as well, because these are still in AP, you are adding constantly D to them. So this will not give you ease of doing the question. But if you assume that if you take these three numbers as your AP, because they are also in AP, you constantly keep on adding D to these numbers and you'll be getting the next number. So if you add D to it, you'll be getting A. If you add D to this A, you'll be getting the next number. So these numbers are also in AP, but the advantage will be clear to you in a few moments when I'll solve this question. So remember, that's always up to you to take these three numbers as AP or these three numbers as AP, but this combination will give you a far more ease in solving the question. So I'll go ahead and remove this. So I have taken these numbers in AP, and now they're saying that the sum of these three numbers is 24. So you add these three numbers, what do you get? You get 24. So let's quickly form the equation. So I add these three numbers and I get 24. The advantage is that D and D cancel out, and all I get is A plus A plus A, which is 3A is equal to 24, which gives me A is equal to 8, 24 by 3. So this is the advantage, that I initially get the value of A. So all I need is just to find out the value of D, and then I'll be getting those three numbers, and that's it. That is the advantage of taking these three numbers in AP instead of A plus D and A plus 2D. Okay, so I've got the value of A, and these are my three numbers. So I'll write again those three numbers. It was A minus D, so it is 8 minus D, 8 and 8 plus D. These are my three numbers. I've just put on the value of A and nothing else. Now this second part will give us the value of D, and their product is 440. That means the product of all these three numbers is 440. So let's go ahead and multiply all of them. 8 minus D times 8 plus D gives us 440, and we can now find out the value of D. All I do is take this 8 on the other side. So 8 minus D times 8 plus D is equal to 440 by 8. 8 5s are 40, 40, 8 5s are 40. 8 minus D into 8 plus D is 8 square minus D square is equal to 55. 8 square is 64 minus 55. I take this D on the other side and I move this D square on the other side. So 64 minus 55 is D square. 64 minus 55 is 9 is equal to D square. So D is equal to what? 3? No, incorrect. It is plus or minus 3. Make sure that you are not forgetting this. So D is plus or minus 3, because plus 3 square is also 9 and minus 3 the whole square is also 9. So our three numbers are, if you take D is equal to 3, then my three numbers are 8 minus 3, 8 and 8 plus 3. These are my three numbers. And if you take D as minus 3, then my three numbers are 8 minus 3, 8 and 8 plus minus 3. So you simplify these two. So your first combination is 5, 8, 11, and your second combination is 8 plus 3, 11, 8, 5. So these are the three numbers. Although you can say that they are giving me the same result, but they are actually different APs. They are the same numbers, but they are two different APs. This is an AP with first term as 5 and common difference as 3, and this is an AP with first term as 11 and common difference as minus 3. So they all may be giving you the same numbers, 5, 8 and 11, but they are indeed two different APs, and that is why you have to give two different answers. Okay, find four numbers in AP whose sum is 20 and the sum of whose squares is 120. Okay, initially we were given three numbers, so we took our numbers as A minus D, A and then A plus D. But now they are giving four numbers, so I also still want to have the same advantage in this case. That means I want that whenever I add all those numbers, I want my D's to be eliminated. So can you think of some combination of four numbers which are in AP, and when I add them, the D's get cancelled down, and in the next instance, at the very next moment, I get the value of A. Okay, so if they are giving you four numbers, take these as your numbers: A minus 3D, A minus D, A plus D and A plus 3D. Confused? Okay, so you see that these three numbers are also in AP, and instead of D as being the common difference, my common difference is actually 2D. If you add 2D in here, you get A minus D. If you again add 2D, you get A plus D, and if you again add 2D, you get A plus 3D. So I have just tweaked my numbers a little bit. So the advantage is that when I add all these numbers, my D's will get cancelled out. Minus D plus D and minus 3D plus 3D all will get cancelled out, and I'll straight away get the value of A. Okay, and instead of D as being my common difference, I'm having 2D as my common difference, but that's easy, I can deal with that, no problem. Okay, so and also remember that you could have taken those 4 numbers as A plus D, A plus 2D and A plus 3D. That was your choice, but this will help you a lot in solving the question. So let's quickly add these numbers. A minus 3D plus A minus D plus A plus D plus A plus 3D. If you add all these, you get 20, because the question says that the sum is 20. So minus D plus D cancels out, and minus 3D plus 3D cancels out. A plus A plus A plus A gives us 4A is equal to 20. That gives us A is equal to 5. 20 by 4 is equal to 5. So I get the value of A. That's simple. And now I just have to find out the value of D. Okay, so I'll again rewrite my numbers. It was 5 minus 3D, 5 minus D, 5 plus D, and 5 plus 3. I've just put down the value of A. So now they're saying that the sum of whose squares is 120. That means if you add the sum of the squares of these numbers, you'll be getting 120. So let's form another equation that says that 5 minus 3D the whole squared plus 5 minus D the whole squared plus 5 plus D the whole squared plus 5 plus 3D the whole squared is equal to 120. So if you add these two, what do you get? Remember, there was a formula that you might have learnt in your class 10, that A minus B the whole squared plus A plus B the whole squared is 2 times A squared plus B squared. Let me write it down for you. So the formula was A plus B the whole squared plus A minus B the whole squared is equal to 2 times A square plus B square. It's very simple. If you just open up the squares, you will be getting A square plus B square plus 2AB. Here you'll be getting A square plus B square minus 2AB. Minus 2A plus 2AB cancels out. You get A square plus B square 2 times. So it's 2 times A square plus B square, and that is why this formula. So in here we can apply this formula, and if we take these two terms together, we can apply the same formula. So for these two terms, it will be 2 times A squared plus B squared, and for these two terms over here, I'll be getting 2 times A squared, or you can write it as 5 square for now, 5 square plus D square, and this is equal to 120. You can take this 2 common entirely, so I get 2 5 squared plus 3D squared plus 5 squared plus D squared is equal to 120, and then you can take this 2 to the other side. It will just help you save a lot of calculations. So it is 5 square plus 5 square is 25 plus 25 50 plus 9D square plus D square is 10D square, and this 2 I take on the right hand side, so 120 by 2 is 60. I take this 50 on the other side, so I get 10D square is equal to 60 minus 50, which is 10. D square is equal to 10 by 10, which is 1. So D square is 1, that means D is what? Good this time, plus or minus 1, extremely good. So I get the value of D, and now all I need is just put on the value of D in here and get my number. So if I put D is equal to plus 1, I get my combinations as 5 minus 3, which is 2, 5 minus 1, which is 4, 5 plus 1, which is 6, 5 plus 3, which is 8. This is my first combination, that means 5, first AP. And if I put minus 1 in place of D, I get 5 plus 3, which is 8. I just get it in the opposite direction. So these are my 2 answers. Okay, so thanks a lot. This was the end of this video tutorial. I hope you are enjoying my lessons, and please do share with your friends, and stay tuned with A-Level Maths. Study hard, study smart. Take care.